you may have missed me. I promised last week to do a blog post on um, how stress impacts our central nervous system and our gut health and so on, just as a bit of a follow on from some of the free resources, and make sure that you've grabbed them if you haven't, around the importance of gut health in terms of your emotional health and well-being, your ability to handle stress and all those sorts of things. And I've also issued a free immunity support back as well, because we're heading into some cooler months here in Perth. Particularly the last couple of days have given us a taste that summer is definitely on its way out, if it's already not gone. Um, and obviously we're at the peak of the Omicron spread within the community as well. So it's important for us to keep on track of our health. So anything I can do to support that, hopefully those resources will help. So as part of that, what I forgot is that, for those who don't know, I'm actually competing this weekend, and I'm doing a bit of a tour of a few competitions. Been working towards this. I've been doing bodybuilding for 8 years, so every competition has been worked to at some degree. But I forgot, given that I haven't competed for a couple of years, that it's not the peak week that's actually the hardest. A lot of people sort of think that the week going into the comp is the hardest. It's actually the second week out, because you usually still have work. You've got to get everything ready and finished. Your training goes up ridiculous. So just to put it in context, I had a couple of 4 and 5 hour days, so 2 weight sessions and 3 hours of cardio per day, plus my usual workload, and probably a peak workload at that. So I completely underestimated, one, the time I would have, and two, not so much that, but also the fatigue started to catch up with me. So I just basically had to do a reprioritization, refocused on everything that I needed to get done just to be able to get through the week. So now today I'm in a mad rush to get packed, so I can fly out and get on with my competing season. Also had a few things as well. So I had a bit of a comedy of errors last week. So for those who may or may not know, I've been running the inaugural Incredible You in 2022 program, which is designed to meet people where they're at in terms of, they might want to make a change in terms of their health and fitness. They don't really exercising consistently, can't seem to get a program that sticks, and in particular, have maybe done some yo-yo dieting, for example, nothing's worked, or they've made 1 or 2 changes and it's not really shifting the dial. Or they can't keep with a commitment for a change longer than sort of 30 days. So it's a 3-month program. We're now 75% of the way through. And one of the lessons I needed to deliver over the weekend encountered a few comedy of errors. So one, I, in everything that was going on, completely forgot that Western Power had decided that Sunday they were going to do some grid maintenance for all the day on my electrical grid. Which meant I had no power, which meant that my laptop wasn't charged and I wasn't able to actually run the course at the time that I wanted to do. Then when I finally got around to the power being on and everything happened, I did the presentation, but unfortunately I actually failed to share the screen properly, and so you have me talking to my script document instead of to keep my notes gathered in one place instead of my actual slides. So it was a bit of a failure, a bit of a comedy of errors. That's what happens when you're in low calories, a lot of exercise, and you're really tired. So we all make mistakes. I tend to make them all the time, but anyway. That was not the real reason of the post. So if you actually have a look at the wording, what I've decided to do, it does flow on. Just go on me, let me turn the corner on this one and we'll get there. But essentially, what it was is it's actually one of my favourite topics as well. So we're actually covering self-sabotage, and I thought, well, that's actually perfect timing, right? Like, I have to redo this presentation anyway. It's perfect timing because it's Easter, right? And Easter is, like most of us have been probably running pretty hard the last couple of years. Our workloads have actually increased, if anything else. It's harder to stay on track with things. We're sort of there's no separation between things, and so things become really overwhelming, and if you're trying to make a change, that's just another thing another path of resistance that sometimes makes everything feel a bit hard. So Easter is a good time to kind of reset and refresh, but it's also a time where people can use that as an excuse, or they completely self-sabotage and derail their progress. So I'm going to basically run this workshop again, or a slightly different version, because my clients already have the content. But I'm going to run basically that workshop probably Thursday or Friday, depending on how I'm going, noting that I will be covered in turn in a different state as well. So let's see if I can get the tech working and myself working, probably more important, because I don't think it's the technology, it's probably more of a user error, and I'm not operating on a full battery, so we'll see. Anyway, I thought that would be a good way to help people kind of stay on track over Easter, have a little bit of fun, and then go into your weekend relaxed, knowing that you've got some ways of potentially keeping on track, or just taking the break and enjoying that and recognizing that, and then not beating yourself up if you decide to take a bit of a reset, and then refocus post Easter. So we're going to be covering basically, yeah, as I said, one of my favorite topics is self-sabotage. Now, it's not self-sabotage itself that's the topic. It's what we actually start talking about is some of the concepts around herd correction, which blows people's minds if they've never heard about that before, how that shows up in your life. We'll talk about how to recognize and obviously how to overcome self-sabotage, but we're going to talk about the power of the mind. So this is another thing that if people haven't come up to this concept before, kind of blows their mind a little bit as well. It's a bit of a crash course on, you know, how the conscious mind comes up against the subconscious mind, which subconscious mind obviously is you know, where we need to actually build our habits, and the reason being and why that's so powerful. So we'll talk about how powerful the mind is, and once we recognize that, how we can potentially harness it to your advantage. So there will be a workbook for this as well. It should be hopefully a super fun session. So yeah, so I haven't actually ironed out all the details yet. Unfortunately for my poor, delightful VA, Jay, who's had to bear with me while I've been a complete nutter last week. Well, not nutter, just sort of absent, because I was trying to focus on getting everything else done. I haven't actually given her the time and the details yet, so I'll need to give her some space today to actually help me create the event and also the Zoom. But yeah, stay tuned. So if you guys are interested in joining me for that workshop, make sure that you comment below, DM me. I'll make sure I send you the details, and we'll get this session done. And yeah, if you've got any other questions, or yeah, have or are interested in any more sort of the other topics or free resources, make sure you comment or DM, and I will make sure that you get access to those things. There is also links in the bio as well, and if you're in the Facebook group, I know I'm actually talking to the camera that's live on Instagram, but in Instagram you should find there's a link in the bio to some of those free resources. We'll probably put a link to the webinar there, also workshop there as well later. But in the interim, just, you know, comment, DM, and then with the Facebook, there's obviously you should find there's actually an event in there with some free resources that you can access at any time. But yeah, if you can't find them, or it's just easier, just comment, and Jay or I will get back to you as soon as we can. All right, enjoy your week. I hope you're looking forward to your long weekend. Just so you know as well, if you're in Australia, you're blessed to have a 3 weeks of 4-day weeks. I would like to see in Australia where we have, you know, maybe 52 weeks where it's 4-day weeks. That would be great, wouldn't it? Who would love? That's what the question I'm going to finish off with. If you don't pay attention to anything else, who puts a vote up here that we should just have 4-day working weeks? Yes, my vote is definitely there. So yeah, if there's nothing else that you want to interact with this video, let me know if you see 4-day working weeks is as standard and should be implemented. All right, have a great day, and I'll speak to you soon. If I can figure out how to end the video. Again, user error.